Hey everyone, thank you so much
Hey.
for coming.
So much for hosting.
Heaps of familiar faces going on right now. Pretty cool. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm just going to get started. So thanks everyone so much for coming. It's really, really appreciated. It's something I've been wanting to do for ages, and it just seemed like a really good time and opportunity to do it. And then luckily, Elena and Kon are both very like-minded, awesome individuals. So that's them down there somewhere. Just muted myself. Okay, cool. So just to introduce everyone a little bit, if anyone doesn't know, there are some people that know us already, but I am the founder of Clever Fox Creative. I do web design and development and a bit of web strategy as well. Elena is also going to be talking, who is the founder of Social Punch. She does social media strategy management as well. And then Kon Antonio, who's a bit of a Google specialist. He does SEO, SEM and things like that. But they can go a little bit more into detail about who they are when they get to their slots. We're going to be going over some strategy. Basically, one of the main reasons I wanted to create this today was to bounce around ideas between three people in different digital industries around how we can better help each other and how we can better help our businesses not just survive the next 6 months or however long this whole COVID-19 goes on, but just the foreseeable future as well, and how we can start taking action today, not just to survive, but to thrive. So we're going to be going over that in terms of web, social, and SEO as well. So if you take things to know, I know that everyone's kind of going through a learning curve right now with this whole Zoom thing, including us, which is why it took us so long to figure out what we were doing this morning. So just a couple of like house rules, I suppose. If everyone doesn't mind, in terms of making sure that everyone can hear me and see each speaker as we're talking, if everyone can please mute their voice and also stop their video just so that it doesn't get overloaded as we're getting more and more people join. So the way you would find that is just down the little bottom of your screen, there's a mute button, and there'll also be a stop video button. All right. Cool. So we've got a couple of people left, but that's all right. And as well, during the whole session, what I was planning on doing is creating a bit of an open space for people where we can introduce ourselves, we can have a bit of a chat, we can ask questions and things like that. So even when we're talking about each of our specialties, people can still ask questions and stuff like that. And then when it gets to the end, when we start doing our question time, we'll have a bit of a backlog of questions and things like that. So the way that we're going to be doing that is through the Zoom chat. And so if you don't know already, where you just went to mute your mic and where you went to stop your video, there'll be another little button down there that says chat. So if you hit that, it should bring up a chat, hopefully. Okay, awesome. All right, Tanya's got it. Cool. Yeah, if anyone wants to just say hi, I can actually see everyone's comments as they post them anyway. So hi, nice, smiley faces, cool. All right, good. So if anyone has any questions as we're going along, just make sure you chuck it in there. And then when it gets to the question time, we're going to go from the top down and we'll just keep going from there. So first off, why don't we all take a second and let everyone know who they are. Oh, I don't know how to turn on your video anyway, that's fine. So everyone, if everyone can get in the comments and say who you are, what your business name is, if you've got a business website, chuck that in there as well, and what your core service is. And that way everyone can go through the comments a bit later, and everyone can support each other if there's businesses that they need the services of, or it's just interesting to see who's in the room as well. So if we can kind of cater some of their content and answer some of our questions in a way that's going to help multiple people, that would be awesome. So yeah, get in the chat box. Let us know who you are. And as I mentioned as well, so we're going to be doing a Q&A session at the end with all of our speakers. If you do have a specific question for one of the speakers, whether it's something specifically around socials or specifically SEO or web, just make sure you put the name of the person that you want to ask specifically. But if it's a general question, obviously you don't need to do that, and we'll just open the floor at the end. We can get people to turn on their cameras and we'll go over that at the end anyway. So, right, me, time for some web stuff. Cool. Yeah, thanks again everyone for coming. I'm really, really grateful, and hopefully this can be of help to everyone. So just to give you a little bit of background about who I am, I run a small web design and development business. We're just in Hyde Park in Unley, and we work with a range of different clients. So that's like e-commerce, small businesses, larger websites, a massive range of different things. We have a lot of different strategies. Some of our core services are graphic design. We also do a bit of web design and development. We do web strategy, and we're also planning at the moment to do some online workshops and some online courses. Maybe a bit of collaboration with some more people again, to get a bit of a rounded skill set. So I'm really excited about that. That's a way that we're kind of trying to adapt in these crazy times. And I just wanted to mention as well, I'm also a small business owner and I really, really love what I do. And so part of the reason I wanted to do this is because, like everyone else, I know that it's a really big time for anxiety and stress at the moment, and I'm really feeling that as well. We've had some clients who have had to just completely pull the plug, some clients who unfortunately had to go out of business, and some who've like lost their jobs and things like that as well. So we're feeling the pinch as well. So being able to create this space where we can have a chat and kind of lift each other up is really what I wanted to create today. And some of the things I'm going to be chatting about, so we're going to go over basically the business fundamentals, but I think honestly it's really important to be talking about this stuff because while we're in isolation and we have a little bit of extra time up our sleeves, we can really go back to why are we even doing this in the first place, which I know some people are probably thinking that sometimes in a negative light at the moment because of what's going on. But let's get back to the core of our purpose and why did we even start this business? What were we passionate about that made us want to get started and start doing this to begin with? We're going to talk about innovating and pivoting your business and how we can do that online. I'm going to give you guys some tools that you can use, which are free tools to implement on your own website or just use in general that might help boost some of your business as well. And we're going to be talking about building trust and value for your clients. And one of the ways that I do that is through free value content. So I'm going to be going a little bit more into that. And the last thing I want to talk about is just passing it forward and helping everyone and trying to support everyone at the moment. Cool. All right, first off, this is a post-it note that I wrote the other day when I was listening to a very good podcast called Mind Over Matter. If you haven't heard of it, get on it. It's actually one of my clients' podcasts. So if we all support each other and we all get each other's backs, we're going to get through this. We just got to remember that there is an end to this. It's not a forever thing. So we'll try and stay positive, just plan ahead. So let's get back to basics for a second. So something that I was surprised to find out when I've done public speaking and things like that before is that often people haven't actually defined what their purpose or their mission is, even if they've been in business for 10 years. And if they have been in business for 10 years and they have defined those things, they haven't revisited that in a really long time. And this is the perfect time when we're kind of reevaluating where we are with our business, with our lives, you know, with our families and our personal parts of our lives as well, to relook at that so that we can better define our purpose moving forward and we can set some really good long-term goals off of that. So the reason why you would want to define your vision is it provides a lot of clarity, not just for you as a business owner, but for your team. They know where you're going and they can see that vision, and that creates alignment as well. So having those defined achievable goals for your business is going to give that direction. It's also going to help to enroll your team to work towards your mission with you. So if they know where you're going, they're more motivated to help. And it also inspires and attracts better team members, better clients, creates a better community, but people are inspired around you because they can see what you're trying to create. And this is something that was actually really important for us specifically. I've been running the business for about 6 years, and up until about 2 years ago, it was kind of like chugging along all right. And then I really got down into this when I went to a course with Nick, who's the designer, who's probably on here somewhere. And we got into this and I didn't realize how much clarity I was missing by going deeper into these things. And the amount of goals that we've achieved since just doing that one thing, because we actually know where we're going, has been insane and really, really beneficial. So I think it's very important to go back into it, especially now. So let's talk about purpose for a second. So your purpose is really what your business reasons to exist is. So the greater reason, the absolute end goal. So as an example, you might want to help business owners succeed for a structured and supportive community. That's the big goal, the big picture. It's not so much delving down into the specifics, or like, you know, I want to make $30,000 extra a year, things like that. It's not so specific, but your greater vision, I suppose. And it should connect you as a business owner. It should connect you as a point of your personal purpose as well, because those things aren't separate. Like I think we often try and separate it too much, but it's not really separate, because you wouldn't be creating a business to begin with if it wasn't something that you personally wanted to do. So we're going to that. And then your mission is the next stage down, really, which is delving a bit smaller. So we're going to go into the next 5 to 10 years. What does that look like? What goals are we going to set for that? It can be a ridiculous goal. I don't think having a ridiculous goal is necessarily a bad thing. Go a little bit unrealistic, even if you wanted to, you know, but try and, I guess, make it a measurable, you know, everyone's heard of SMART goals, make it a measurable goal where you can say, you know, I want to have reached this amount of people. I want it to help this amount of people. You could go into money if you wanted to. I wanted to make this amount of money in the next 10 years. Personally, we try and measure our businesses for impact. So for us, our mission is a little bit more generalized, but our mission is to create an inspired and empowered community to help change the world is our mission. It's literally behind a computer right there. And then redefining your core values. So I think this is something that people get a little bit mixed up on sometimes. They go really broad with it. And what it should really be is your guiding principles of your business. It's not something that is an aspiration. Like we should be humble, like we want to be, we try and be. It's we are. And it should be more heavily defined to behaviours. So as an example, a common value that people might have is one of our core values is kindness, for instance. That's a more broader value. But when I'm defining kindness or compassion, compassion is one of ours. When I define compassion, I define that as we don't look away when things are uncomfortable. If we have, you know, a client who's struggling, we don't look away from that. We treat other people with understanding, we treat ourselves with understanding, and we're willing to go, you know, into the vulnerable space where we talk about how we're really feeling and stuff like that. So that's one of the core values of our business. That's one value defined into behaviors so that you can better define how you guys are going to act. And going through that with people that work for you and things like that gives them a better sense of purpose. It's more likely going to help them propel your business forward. And it really creates ultimately the culture that's going to help you get successful. So that's the main reasons why I think those are really important. And the reason I wanted to go into that is because over the next 6 months, if we can lock that down, what we can then define based on our mission, on our 10-year, 5-year goal, is we can work backwards. So say 10 years you want to be in this place, what do I actually have to achieve to get there step by step? What are the small things that I can do? So we break it down into priorities. What are the most important things that we need to achieve over the next 10 years? We make those actionable. And then we break that down into monthly tasks that we can achieve. So what we do is we do a 12-month review. We set our 12-month goals, we set our quarter goals, then we set our monthly goals, and then we set our daily goals. We get a little bit extra with it, but I think that's generally helpful because you can see it laid out. Having this big grandiose idea and not breaking it down just makes it seem really overwhelming. And in a time when we're already feeling really overwhelmed, I think just breaking it down to something that we can see is realistic and actionable, I think is really going to be beneficial to people. And that's why I wanted to break that down today. So yeah, I've also put the daily actionable items on there. I have a board just behind me where we put our daily actions on there to help move forward every single day. So we're always doing at least one thing. So doing those things really builds momentum because you're actually doing something every day. You're not just waiting. and waiting and planning. You know, you can plan forever, but if you're not taking action on it, then you're not going to get where you need to be. And something that I was also I've got a lot of gifts going on in this, by the way, so I'm sorry for that. I just like them a lot. So my tip is to find an accountability buddy. So someone that you know that's going to hold you accountable to doing those things. I was very fortunate that Nick came to that seminar with me, and so Nick holds me accountable to that. I hold him accountable to it. And now Josh, who works for us as well, he is also accountable to it. I have a very close friend of mine, Brett. We hold each other accountable all the time. He's actually in here somewhere. So having someone that's going to help you achieve those things daily, check in with you, is really, really important. So fun tip. And I just wanted to touch on messaging. I don't want to go too heavy into it because I could talk about it forever, and this is really about websites, but it's really, really important that at the moment that we really make sure that our messaging is on point, and it's not going to weigh on our clients. It's going to uplift people, but also not negate what's happening either. So I just wanted to go over a couple of tips to show understanding and find some common compassion with each other, your clients, your community as well. So as a business, I think it's really important to be transparent with your audience and trying to be as specific as possible about what you're doing to try and help the situation at the moment. So if you're getting a little bit wishy-washy and unclear about what your business is doing to help, so you know, what are you doing for your sanitation practices? What are you training out specifically? Because when people are feeling like everything's kind of thrown up in the air, to not have any certainty around what they can rely on you for as a business, it's just going to be more stressful and turn people away. So if you can really define what your reaction is to coronavirus and just your trading in general based on what's happening with the government, close downs and things like that, it's really, really important. And then when you are talking to your customers, trying to be as compassionate and understanding about the facts as possible, but also being aware that people are struggling. You want to be positive, but you don't want to negate the fact that people are still struggling. And that, for me, I think a part of that is also being able to be vulnerable about your own struggles in your business, to be able to say, look, we're a little bit worried, but we're going to try our hardest. We really appreciate your support. If there's anything we can do to help you, let us know. Just having that open communication and that open messaging is really, really important at the moment. People really appreciate it. One of my big don'ts is to use it as a marketing opportunity. So there's a lot of e-commerce stores that are currently selling a really dodgy mask because they're capitalizing on coronavirus, which I just think is the dodgiest thing ever. What you want to be doing is thinking about how you can better help solve their issues or solve their new issues, because people now have new problems. They have to live completely differently now. We need to find ways of helping them, not capitalizing off people, because that's gross. And also, I think really at the moment, for your socials, for your website, for just talking to customers as well, trying to provide some uplifting tips, inspiration of what to do in isolation when they're bored in their house, top Netflix movies to watch at the moment, stuff like that, that makes people feel better, makes people feel more connected with your business, is always going to be helpful, just in general, but also at the moment now. And then just make sure you offer as much support as you possibly can, and don't spread misinformation. Don't even, I wouldn't even comment on it as a business about figures and stuff like that, because there is a lot of statistics that may not be proven statistics or unreviewed stats and things like that. So it's always better to just stick out of that, honestly, and just use the opportunity to uplift your community, get involved, share about their businesses, they'll share about your businesses. It's a really good opportunity right now to be collaborative with one another. So just conveying that for your messaging is really important. And the reason why I wanted to mention messaging in general is because trying to keep it at the front of people's minds is going to be really important long term. So while some stores can't sell stuff at the moment, they can't be open at the moment, what you can do is stay in the front of people's minds regardless of where your business is at in terms of its functioning, I guess. So making sure that you're remembered by them because you're getting involved in the community, they're remembering you in this really positive way, even though you may not be trading, for instance. this is something that they did really well during World War II. So a lot of the really larger businesses during World War II couldn't actually sell anything, and they couldn't manufacture anything. And for the entire war, they continued to advertise to uplift people's spirits, not to make money out of it. And because of that, their brand was heavily recognised for the whole way through. And so when eventually they were manufacturing, they were there, they were at the forefront of everyone's minds because they hadn't dropped off. So I think one of the things that people really do is they panic, and then they just cut all communications. They kind of just drop off the face of the planet because of the anxiety that's involved with what's going on. But if you can just find a way of carrying on, even if it's at your own pace, I think it'll be really beneficial long term as well. Fun tip, host free workshops like this one. It's a really good opportunity to share your expertise and help people, also get to know people, because you never know later down the track how that might evolve in your business. You could find really cool collaborative partners this way. You could find new clients this way eventually. It really doesn't matter as long as you're helping people. I think it's a really good opportunity. So get on that. All right, so I want to get into innovating and digital pivoting. So this, I think, is probably one of the most important things. So Nick said this to me earlier, which is why I bolded it, but the event plus your response is the outcome. So how we decide to react during this time is how things are going to play out in the future. And I think it's a good opportunity now to see new opportunities for our businesses. Something that I was reading about earlier is you get business investors and business leaders and stuff. They see the downturn in markets like what we're seeing now as an opportunity to create something new, because there's gaps in the market, there's new places, there's new problems to solve, which we all know. Trying to get on Zoom, for instance, new problem. Zoom's making heaps of money out of it. So there's always an opportunity in crisis. Unfortunately, we have to go through them anyway, so we may as well try and see the silver lining. So some of the questions you may have around pivoting your business. So how can I maintain sales, deliver my service differently, keep the money coming in, staying relevant, like I was just talking about. How can I remain active in my community? And how can I market my business online and find new ways to bring clientele in? So basically what we want to go over is the can-dos. So focusing on what you can't do, how you're limited, and the negative aspects of what's going on isn't necessarily beneficial, especially when you're communicating that to your team and things like that. If we start to focus on what we can do or what we can do better or what we can do differently, changing what you can't do to what I can do differently is a really good mindset to have around this. So what services and solutions can you continue to do as normal? There may be a lot of businesses that can work a lot as normal on certain of their services. So which services can be done face-to-face, which can be done online, and then in terms of your customer needs, what has changed due to the crisis. And when you find the places where things have changed, where your customer needs has changed, that's where you're going to find ways to pivot and ways to grow your business in a different way. There's nothing wrong with different, it's just different. So there's some of the ideas. So we'll start from the more basics. So I guess additional resources that you can support your customers online. So this is just more of a long-term game of how can I stay in the forefront? How can I stay relevant? So that's providing informational blogs. You can do online downloads. Like we've got an ebook on our website. I know that Elena has an ebook on her website. They're just totally free downloads for people. Frequently asked questions. Chatbots are great. You can actually get them for free. There's one called Drift that I've installed on people's websites a few times. That just means that when people are at home bored and they have a question, they can just, chat to you straight away. If you're at home bored because your business isn't front face open at the moment, it'll just pop up on your phone and you can just answer it straight away. Things like that is really great. You can do strategy sessions online, provide support sessions online through Zoom, whether that's paid or for free for people. And you can start utilizing your socials to make sure that you're always being relevant. And then in terms of pivoting digitally, so moving your services online, here's just a few of our ideas basically. So holding free workshops, or not free, so you can free or paid, however you want to do it really. Workshops, coaching sessions. So say if you're a business coach or you give consultations and things like that, a lot of that you can do online through Zoom and other services like that. Online food delivering service, we've seen like a massive change in all the restaurants now because everyone's doing takeaway, which is crazy. The amount of food that I have access to now is great. But yeah, so there's all of these online platforms that you can do that for. You can do that for your website. It doesn't necessarily have to be through a third-party provider like Uber or Deliveroo, where you're getting commission rates and things taken off. You can do online courses. You can start selling your products online for like an e-commerce solution, for example, or through Facebook, selling Etsy. It doesn't necessarily even need to be built onto your website. All of these are really great solutions. So it's just finding the idea of what can we change in our business, what service can really be taken online, what can't, and what are people looking for that's different now that we can provide that we don't now. So here's some of the free solutions I was going to recommend. So Drift is the one I was talking about, which is that chatbot. I think Kon recommends chatbots later. We've got the food and hospitality, this takeaway solutions one I found, and it's free to use. The only time it's not free to use if you take credit card payment on there, and it's only $30 a month, which in comparison to the fees that you get charged for, you know, Uber and things like that as well, it's comparable. So give people an option of doing it that way. You can do online meetings, so booking strategy calls and things like that. It doesn't even necessarily have to be Zoom. You can use Calendly, which is something Elena uses, I'm pretty sure, which just lets people book out times in your calendar. You already set it, it's all great. Booking webinars over Eventbrite, like we have with this guy, and selling products online. We always use WooCommerce simply because it's free to use. You don't have any subscription fees based on that. It's quite easy to use, and most people's websites are built in WordPress. So it's actually built into WordPress, which is why it's called Woo. And Etsy is another one. They have some fees, but it's still a really good platform, and Shopify. So if you don't have the resources available to build an e-commerce platform into your website, you could always rely on those external ones like Etsy, just to link people to it, just to start getting it started, because action over perfection always. Don't spend all of your time trying to create the most amazing experience for people, especially at the time when we're really stressed. People want stuff done now. And lastly, I think this is a really good time to start collaborating, like with this webinar, for instance, you know, building a platform for your customers and your clients and your community. So get yourself and the team on video, start, you know, recording some of your expertise on video to talk on social media. Again, a long-term game. I know that's heavily out of people's comfort zone, but I think it's a really good opportunity to be doing it. So maybe you could guest blog on people's websites, vice versa, so that you can get your business out there. You can guest speak on podcasts, webinars, and make sure you're sending out emails to your customers with any valuable information, any inspiring information, anything that you think could really benefit them at the moment. There are really great ways to not necessarily go online, but start creating opportunities for your business through, you know, ways that you aren't currently, basically. One of the case studies that I wanted to talk about just very quickly, I know that I talk for a million years when I do this. So this is Fuds. This is near Nick's house. So this is a burger bar. What they're doing is really cool, not just because they're doing takeaway. They were one of the first ones doing it. But also the messaging that I've used, because I want to just go back to messaging quickly, is so uplifting and humbling, and really, really, it makes people feel like engaging with them, which is what you want people to do. You want to make people feel like they need to engage with you and they want to engage with you. It makes them feel better to engage with you, all of those things. So I'm just going to quickly switch out of this. Something that they're doing a little bit differently is curbside pickups, which I think is really cool. So they'll actually run out to your car and drop it to you, so they don't have to come inside, which is a different way of going about it, so they don't have to pay delivery fees and things like that. So I'm just going to read quickly out to you what their Facebook post was. So hello FUD friends, which is nice, friends. Call up, pick up, and pull up because Fuds is now doing curbside pickup. As both our staff and customers' wellbeing are our main priority, and with further restrictions and protocol around social distancing laws, it is with a heavy heart that Fud and I have decided to close our in-house dining. We aren't entirely sure what's next with what next week with curbside pickup is going to look like just yet, but we do know it will most likely involve Tanner and Frogger waving from the door and running hot, delicious burgers over to your car. Personally, I see a lot of positives around our new arrangement. So you no longer need to get out of your car, allowing you to have a pants optional policy in the comfort of your own vehicle. Sneaking the first of those tasty chips from the top of your takeaway bag while driving safely home, albeit one-handed. Being able to get all up in your burger without having to pretend to eat like someone's watching, judging, looking. Finishing your takeaway with the comfort of knowing you were smart enough to order a dessert. Like I said, lots of positives. They go on to explain how they manage it and things like that, but that kind of super positive messaging was a really cool idea. I really liked it. Okay, where am I? All right, I'm back. And the second example that I wanted to go over just quickly is a place called Hills. Oh, sorry. I just saw the message pop up. I wasn't just like dazing off. They sent it out over Facebook, I believe, and probably Instagram as well. But Nick, if you pop in the comments, if Nick's on here, he'll be able to tell you more specifically because he's the one that found it. So Hills Massage is the other one that I wanted to mention. They are a massage therapy company, and this is one of the bigger business types that is being affected by this because obviously it's hand-on-hand touch. So, or hand-on-skin touch. So people don't want to do it. The associations are telling massage companies to close their doors. But a way that they're getting around this is obviously they're not doing any hands-on treatment, but what they are doing is free weekly online stretching classes over Zoom. They offer hands-free mini consults over video as well, which is a paid service. And they're teaching the basic seated massage and Swedish massage to those in isolation to help reduce anxiety over, one-on-one. And they're also doing some group classes and stuff like that coming up on YouTube. So that's a way for them to keep getting money in when the doors are closed. It doesn't have to be this, like defeat of the doors are closed, that's it. There are other ways that you can get around this, and obviously may not bring in as much income as what you were getting from your services, but it's better than not getting any. And if you can use that to support the people that work for you and things like that, I don't see any downside of doing these. And at the very least, because you're doing these online courses and you're doing all of these classes, you're staying at the forefront of people's minds. So when you are, back open, you're the first place that they come to, So I keep talking about what the customer needs. If you're not sure, then just ask them. There's nothing wrong with asking people what they need and want and what solutions they're really looking for at the moment. Surveys are an awesome thing. So, and I don't know any of my customers who wouldn't do a survey for me. I'd just be like, oh, can you help me out? I'm trying to find out how I can better serve you guys. Could you fill this out, like a 5-minute survey? It's a really great opportunity because it also helps get back to that purpose and your core values and things like that, because you get a better overview of what people are looking for. People that really like and work with you as well. And just briefly, and I keep saying briefly and then talking for ages, it's not great. But I wanted to talk about providing free value as well. This is another way of not necessarily pivoting your business, but providing something to your customers that's going to keep you in the forefront of their mind. Something that I mentioned earlier was online downloads and providing free ebooks and things like that. So this is something that we've done. We did this as a part of another course, which is writing ebooks about specialties that people really want to know about, and then just giving it away to people for free to help them. So one that we have is 5 ways that you can grow your business while also giving back to your community. So it's just something that you're passionate about or your expertise is in, and you create an ebook surrounding this. It doesn't even have to be an ebook. It can be a blog, it can be a video, it could be 5 short social media posts. The importance is that you're giving value to people and you're helping them out in a time when they probably really need it. And again, this is a really long-term play, I guess. Oh, there you go, Nick's just replied to Tanya. So it's a really long-term strategy, but it'll play it off because what it one does is it shows you as an authority in your industry because you're able to create content around your expertise. It gives you a lot of stuff, resources to send to people who might be interested in your services but aren't quite sure. And it's also just helpful for people as well. And you can even, like, if you have a website, you can even use it as, I guess, like a lead generation thing where you get their emails and then you can send them really helpful tips and stuff out that way. And you can really grow those relationships over time rather than just like buy my stuff, you know, like grow those relationships, build them up. So some of the ways you can do it is like 5 steps to getting a shinier shoe, or the 5 key steps to having silky skin. These are really bad examples, don't use them, but you probably understand how it will sound in your own industry, I guess. So yeah, ways you can do it: ebook, videos, blog, online courses. You might want to do a checklist. We've got a conversion rate checklist that we can send out to people that helps them identify how they can better their website and things like that. Even if they can do it themselves, it doesn't really matter. Just things like that is really helpful for people. And most of all, when you're doing any of these things, when you're doing the blog writing or the collaboration, or you're creating, you know, an online course, action over perfection always, because nothing is ever perfect. And if you're striving for it, then you're not going to get there, and you're going to procrastinate until it's too late to be doing it. So just start producing this stuff now if you can. Yeah, that's the main thing I have to say about that. Something fun that I wanted to do just quickly. I keep saying just quickly, but so everyone's really stressed out. People are struggling. There are some businesses that are going quite fine right now. There's probably a lot of businesses that are even thriving right now, which is amazing. And I'm really happy for them. And then there are people who are really struggling and need a little bit of extra help. Personally, if you have extra to give. And if you need extra from people, if you need some help, then ask. It's really important that when we're struggling like this, that we actually seek the support from people. And if you have a lot of time up your sleeve, whether you're a creator or whatever, really, you never know what people need help with. Something that you can do, if you're comfortable doing it, is reaching out to someone that you've always wanted to work with and offering to help them with something, even if it's for free, because it'll give you a little bit of confidence. Because at the moment, I know when I've had a client pull back and say, we're going to have to close the doors, we have to pull this project, things like that. I know a lot of that is happening to a lot of people. That really knocks you back when that happens, and it makes you feel really negative about the world. This is something positive that you can give back to someone, pay it forward, I guess, and try and create a bit of purpose in your own life when things are a bit down. So something that I have created is a spreadsheet, which I can't directly show you, and then I will actually stop screaming this and I'll show you. But I've created a spreadsheet where people can put their name, their email, and what they need help with. And then if you find someone that is looking for something that you can help them with, you can chuck your name and email on there and it connects you. And then you can put the thing that you're really needing help on. And my idea for this is basically to create a nice little pool of people willing to help each other, willing to support each other. It could be something as small as, you know, as a web person, someone might need a Facebook pixel put on their website. I can do that. I can do that for free. That'd be totally fine. Things like that. How do I? Right, here we go. So give me 2 secs. All right, we're back. So I have created this spreadsheet here. So I'm going to pop the link to it in the chat. But basically the link is tinyurl.com//help1person. And if you have something, I know that within Australia culture, it's a little bit spooky to ask for help and things like that. But if you can, if everyone's willing to do it, I think that would be awesome. So there you go. I've chucked one in for myself, which is, we have all of these testimonial videos that aren't chopped up or edited. even just the smallest amount of help on that would be really beneficial to me. And I'm sure that there's heaps of things that you guys would need help on that are of all different ranges really. So pop that back up. There we go. So maybe identify what kind of skill you have that you could provide a business just to lend them a helping hand. I'm sure there's heaps of not-for-profits that could really use some help at the moment. Just try and spread that positivity, you know, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, so as I said, if you have enough now, try and give. If you're really struggling, it's okay to ask for help as well. So feel free to share the link to anyone that you think needs help or has some skills that could really benefit some people. I kind of want to make it a bit of a thing, so yeah, I'll hop on it. And that's pretty much me. So my fun last tip is when everyone's zigging, be the one who zags, and don't just wait, you know, wait for the future to come. Take action now and get doing some stuff. All right, Elena. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you listening to me rag on for ages. I have no idea how long it's been. I'm going to switch over to Elena.
I think we're good. Hey guys, I am Elena for those of you who do not know me, and I run Social Punch. So I started my business about a year ago after working in the digital space for about 5 years. I'm really passionate about helping small businesses get the best out of social media and use it to build and grow their brands. So I offer a range of services, including social media management, content creation, one-on-one and group Instagram training, and I also run a variety of workshops. So I specialize in the Instagram platform, so I am going to be using that as a focus point throughout the presentation. However, all the content is relevant to other platforms. I've just used a lot of Instagram examples throughout. So let's get started. The topic I'm going to begin with is doing an audit on your social media accounts and setting some goals during this time. So these both go hand in hand, and before you make any big changes to your social media during this time, I would highly recommend doing a big cleanup and review on your accounts and getting really clear on what you're actually trying to achieve from the platforms that you're using. So take this downtime to do a review on your accounts and looking at all of the elements that are involved. So looking at things like the content that you're posting, you know, is it relevant? Is it on brand? Even just reviewing your general branding on your social media accounts. Are your visuals up to date? Is your logo updated? Looking at things like your tone of voice. Is that consistent throughout? How are you talking in your captions? How are you managing your community? How are you engaging with other people on social media? So all of that stuff is really important to consider. Even just the consistency of your posting, how consistent are you being on social media, and what kind of results are you achieving? So that's something I would definitely start with. And during this process, I'd recommend on getting really clear on your social media goals. So set out a plan to achieve them, and based on where you're currently at, what goals do you want to achieve? What do you want to get out of your social media during this time? So, you know, something you might want to focus on is brand awareness. You might want to use this time to really build your brand, get people familiar with what you do and also the people behind the business, growing your community. So you might want to focus on building up your community and coming up with strategies to really grow your audience throughout this time. Educating others in your industry. So you might want to be known as an industry expert and provide a lot of value around what you do, and, you know, talk about topics within your industry, or collaborating with other businesses. So there's no set rule with how many goals you can have, but they are important because they keep you accountable, and you can stay on track by setting some goals. So this is where your business values come into play, and it's really important to reflect on what makes your business different. So understanding what your why is and taking advantage of your point of difference is what's going to set you apart from the rest. This is especially important during this time. Oops, not sure what's happened there. Hey, Terri, can we go back to the previous slide? Sorry, guys. So yeah, this is really important at this point in time because businesses are really ramping up their social media activity and everyone is jumping online. So you need to have a clear point of difference. What makes your business different to others within the industry? So following from that, who are you talking to? Have a clear idea of what your target customer looks like to your business. So really drill down and understand who is that person that you're talking to, because essentially you're creating content for them. You're talking to them on your social media profile. So what is their demographic? What are their hobbies and interests? What other social media pages are they interacting with? And importantly, how can your product and service benefit them? It's also a good chance during this time to do a bit of a competitor analysis, look at what other people are doing, look at, you know, what people are interacting on their pages and what they're talking about. And obviously getting clear on your values and messages. So what I previously spoke about and what Terri spoke about as well, just having a clear message. Terri, I might need you to, thank you. So like I said earlier, I am going to focus on Instagram throughout the presentation. So making sure your Instagram bio is up to date. Your bio is the first thing that people look at. So if you have any changes that have been made within the business, you want to put all of that in your bio. So I've just got a few notes here. So use keywords in your headline. So as you can see, this is just an example of my bio. In my headline, I have my first name, but I also have social media training as opposed to the business name. So my business name can be found in my display picture. It can also be found in my username. So by using some keywords that describe my business in my headline, it's easy for people to understand what I do. And there's, you know, a higher chance of me showing up when people search something like social media training. So that's something that you can think about. Obviously updating any changes in services, like I said. So if you've changed your location or if you are offering different services, you have different opening hours, it's really important to communicate all of those changes within your bio. And also having a clear call to action and an updated link. So as you can see, an example of a call to action is my free Instagram content guide. So that's something that I currently have on offer and I want people to use. So I've got that as my call to action and then the link there that people click on. So if you have something that you want people to go to, make it super clear so they know what to do. Next, please. Okay, so now we move on to content. So we've obviously gone over, you know, how to do a bit of a clean out on your account, setting some social media goals. The next step is to create content. So your content really does play a crucial role in meeting those social media goals. If your content is adding value to your audience and connecting with them on an emotional level, staying true to your brand and consistent, you will build relationships and trust with your audience, build a strong online presence, stand out against your competitors, and lead to increased sales and clientele. So your content represents your business. Everything you put on your social media account is a representation of your business. So something I always say to my clients is choose quality over quantity. Don't put something up for the sake of it because you think you haven't posted in a while. Really make sure that you're adding value with each piece of content and it's a good representation of your business and your values. Next, please. Okay, so the first thing you want to be doing is communicating the changes within your business. So use this opportunity to connect with your audience, share value, and get them excited about what you might be offering now. Keep showing up for your Instagram community and share your journey with them. So the last thing you want to do at the moment is just neglect your social media account altogether. Even if your business has completely closed and you're unable to offer any online services to your customer, you still want to use this as a time to build up your social media account. You don't want to neglect your social media community. You want to keep them engaged. You want to keep supporting them. So you can get creative with your messaging here. And I've just got a few ideas that you can take on board. So share your ideas and ask your audience for feedback. So similar to what Terri was saying with actually asking your audience for feedback. So what you can do here is, give your audience some sneak peeks. You might have some things in the works, but you're not sure how to go about it or how they'll respond. So you can share a few of your ideas and actually ask them to send you a direct message or run a poll on your Instagram stories to get a bit of feedback to see if it's something that they're interested in. And also capturing the process. So if you've got things going on behind the scenes, give your audience a bit of an insight into what you're doing. It's exciting for them to see, and it also shows them how passionate you are about what you do. Next, please. I've just got an example here of a new client that I've recently taken on board, which is Paisano Bakery. So Paisano Bakery is a wholesale bakery and they distribute bread to eateries in Adelaide. So with most eateries being either shut or offering very limited takeaway options, the bakery had to come up with, some new strategies to keep their business going quite quickly. So what they did was they welcomed orders to the general public direct from the bakery. And then soon after, they developed a really simple online ordering system, which meant that people could literally jump online, order some bread and get it delivered straight to their house. So we had to come up with a strategy that presented this message in a, fun and creative way. So these are just a few examples of how we communicated that message. We created some really simple visuals. We had some, nice visuals showcasing the product, showcasing the bread, and posting regular Instagram stories with some new products that were on offer. So the key here was just to be really consistent as well. We had to consistently share that message. It was a really awkward time to onboard a new client at the start of all of this COVID-19 drama, and especially being in the food industry. So we had to really come up with a clear strategy as to how we can get this message across in an effective way. Next, please. Okay, so secondly, provide an experience and an insight into your journey. So now more than ever, it's important to stay connected and be present. So give your audience a bit of an insight into how you're spending this time and be clear on what you do and how you do it. So you've probably seen on social media how a lot of people are sharing their feelings and experience towards this isolation period and what they're doing. So I guess this is an opportunity to give your audience a bit of an insight into your personal experience as well, and an opportunity for you to be quite raw and authentic with them. So think about things like, how are you staying connected with your family, with your friends and colleagues? Are you taking on any self-education or even any self-care during this time? Essentially, you just want to create content to inspire your audience, to keep them engaged and to keep them interested in what you're doing. If you have a team of people in your business, you can do some fun things like have them take over your account for the day and show what they're doing, just keeping people inspired with how you're going through this period. These are just a few examples of some things that I've shared on my business page as of late. So just sharing how, what I've been taking on board and what I've been doing during this time. So exercise is something that's really important to me. So I've been trying a few different home workouts and sharing that with my audience. I also want to do things like this to support other local businesses. People have changed their business model quite quickly or in the process of doing that. So it's just a way for me to support them and some content for them to share as well. I've also taken this time to take on a bit of online learning. Don't know what's happened there. Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys. So I've just been sharing some snapshots of what I've been doing and what I've been taking from it, just to keep my audience, I guess, up to date with what's happening in my business, and also just sharing some general tips that I found really helpful that people can take on board during this time as well. Okay, so now we move into content planning and ideas. So in a time where we're being forced to move more freely and change our daily habits and lifestyle, your social media content plan should reflect this also. So allow your content plan to represent how you're feeling and what's currently inspiring you. So I wouldn't recommend planning your content too far in advance. Things are moving so quickly in your business and in the world in general, so you don't want to plan things too far because you don't actually know what's going to be happening. So I would let your content kind of flow with how you're feeling and what's happening in your business. It's also a great opportunity if you have some downtime to get creative and step outside of your comfort zone and experiment with a few things that you've either been avoiding or things that have been on your mind for some time. So a few things that I would definitely recommend for you to think about implementing onto your socials is video content, Instagram TV, and Instagram stories. So just wanted to share a few of these stats, these video stats. So in 2020, 85% of the buyer-seller interaction will happen online through social media and video. 72% of customers would rather learn about a product or service by way of video, and social media posts with video have 48% views. So it's pretty evident that video is where it's at. That's what people want to see. That's what people engage with. So I would definitely recommend, trying some video content at home. I know videos seem quite scary, and to be honest, I'm still getting used to them myself. It took me a while to get in front of the camera, but it is really important and something that does obviously, gain a lot more traction than just normal images. So if you are at home, you don't need any fancy equipment. You can just play around with, filming yourself on your phone. Just find a space in your home that's quite clear with really good lighting. If you did want to invest in any video props, you could look into a tripod or a lighting ring. You can just start with the basics and see how you go. There's also some really awesome apps that you can use to edit your videos to make them look a lot more professional as well. So the middle one there is InShot, and one that I use quite regularly with my clients. So this app is awesome. It has awesome features that lets you, add text, add music. You can change the speed, you can change the slides. And Mojo and Unfold are two that I use for Instagram stories. They're like my go-to apps. They have awesome features. You can really create engaging video stories with these. And the basic version of all of these apps are free as well. Okay, so just wanted to touch on Instagram TV. So Instagram TV is basically a video that sits in Instagram that's 1 minute or longer, and they're usually used for more educational, informative type content. I just wanted to use an example here of Rosanna from Little Loves Beauty. So I work closely with Rosanna, and being in the beauty industry, she was forced to shut down a few weeks ago. So Rosanna specializes in gel polish, manis and pedis, nail art, and spray tanning. So once her business shut down, it put a lot of women in panic, including myself, knowing that we couldn't see Rosanna. So what she's been doing is creating these awesome Instagram TV videos, providing value to her clients so they can actually continue these services at home. So things like removing your gel polish, that's not something you usually do at home. So Rosanna has created these really simple, effective videos that show her audience how to do these things at home, as well as providing all the tools that you need as well. And the second video is just a nail polish application. So I know it seems so simple, but for clients that would see her quite regularly, they would be missing that service and that time with her. So by her providing something like this, it's just providing a bit of inspiration, and building her community. Okay, Instagram stories. So 80% of all daily active Instagram users are watching stories just as often as they're checking their feed. So it is really important to post regular stories, to have not only a plan for your feed content, but a plan for your story content as well. So Instagram stories allows you to get really creative with your messaging and connect with your audience on a different level. You can be a little bit more personal here, and it doesn't have to be as structured as your feed. You'll see on the right there's some awesome features that you can use to make your Instagram stories really interactive and engage with your audience. So a few that I would recommend using quite regularly in terms of features is the location tag. So the location tag, so just say you're based in Prospect, you would use the Prospect location tag on your stories. That then means that your story will be added to that location tag. So people viewing the Prospect sticker will most likely see your story. Polls are really great as well. You can make them as serious or as lighthearted as you want. You can have fun with them. It's a good way to get some insight into what your audience wants. And the question sticker is really good as well. I would be really specific when asking questions. People are more likely to answer if you ask them a very direct, specific question. So this is just an example from my client hide and seek salon. So the girls at the salon were shut down for a few weeks. So, we wanted to see what people actually wanted to see from them on Instagram during that time. And we got a lot of requests for just home hairstyles and stuff like that. So it was good to get a bit of an insight, and it allows you to connect with your audience. If you are then, providing that content to them, they're going to remember that. Next, please. Okay, so lastly, collaborate and connect. So this is a really awesome opportunity, and I know Terri touched on this as well, using this opportunity to team up with other businesses to provide a valuable experience to your audience. So now's the time to really support each other and, collaborate with someone in your industry or another business that you may have been wanting to work with for a while or wanting to reach out to. So if you're a gym owner, for example, you might want to collaborate with a nutritionist or another PT or just someone in the health and fitness industry that aligns with your business values as well. So there's a few fun things you can do here, and you've probably seen a lot of them at the moment already, like Instagram Lives. That's been really popular. You could do, a Q&A on Instagram Live, or you could do a live workout together, or just something fun to engage your audience. Instagram Lives are awesome because it's happening live, it's happening right now. So, it just makes people want to jump on straight away. Online workshops, so obviously similar to what Terri, Kon and I have done today, providing a webinar covering different topics in the digital space. You might want to offer a discounted service together or create something with somebody, or an Instagram story takeover. So they're always really fun. You could have someone of influence in your industry take over your Instagram account for the day, just to provide your audience with something different, something fun. So at the end of the day, you want to keep your audience in mind, and you want to do whatever's going to provide them with the most value. You want to keep things exciting for them and provide something that they perhaps haven't seen. So I've just got a quick snapshot of what Style Runner are doing. So Style Runner are a women's activewear online store, and they've created something called the Style Runner Health Club. So what they're basically doing is collaborating with other businesses and people in the health and fitness industry to provide different content to their audience. So they've collaborated with, yoga instructors and nutritionists and just people in the industry that are then providing content to the Style Runner audience. So they're doing like live cooking demonstrations and workouts and things like that. So if you get a chance, definitely check that out. And that's all from me. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions, you can pop them into the chat box, or else we will have time for some questions after. So I will pass you on to Kon. Thank you.
How are we all? I'll just wait till it all comes up. Okay. No worries. So my name's Kon Antonio. I'm one of the founders from Rise Digital Media. Sorry, Terri, I'll just cut. Yep. Hang on a sec. Yep. All right. Basically, we were founded in 2016 with my current business partner, Arjun Chadha. Arjun and I were formed and grouped together through Census Yellow Pages, and from this, we've had our business now for almost 4 years. Arjun himself has been in the industry for about 9 years, 10 years, sorry. Myself about 6 years. Saying that we have digital marketing can be a murky and confusing process, and our goal is to offer clarity and simplicity. Okay, so what we do, okay, so generally what we do, we look at generating traffic and leads to your website through search keywords via Google. So if anyone doesn't understand the difference between the two type of products that we generally look at are Google Ads and SEO. So basically ads are a form of cost per click, and then SEO, which is search engine optimization, which does take some time, yet basically your website is found organically. So basically, after some research, companies that I found out to be discovered during the GFC were companies that you can see right here, like Uber, Airbnb, Pinterest, Dropbox, Slack, and Stripe. All are pretty much digital format businesses, and obviously quite successful businesses, and was a good opportunity for the founders of this to obviously look at different ways of going about business. Which leads us to the next point with yourself as business owners, and whether you work for a business or whether you own a business, are you digitally ready? What can you do now and that will help your customers find you? Are you ready for the next chapter? And now's a good time to start thinking of innovating your business. So if you haven't thought about that, again, they've got the three of us, myself, Elena, and Terri, to definitely connect with and look at, okay, well, what can I be doing with my business in order to think about, well, what's my next step, should I say? Basically, what we like to look at is a range of different types of stuff that you might have within your business. The importance of a website, user experience, the design of the website, the relevancy of a page, and how important, how that is important to an SEO side of things, and looking at, well, how can I really build a page that's relevant to what people are searching? Your page speed, whether your page itself is up to speed, because Google does recognize this, and if it's not up to speed, then it generally flicks you off lower down the rankings. So, and then obviously your hosting, where your hosting's at, is your hosting good enough to adapt for all these types of different formats within a website? Content, okay, the girls have obviously spoken in regards to how important content is, regular blog posting, on-page content, okay, so basically looking at content within your website. Is that content up to speed? Is it to the point of, is it clearly identifying what people are searching, and is it to the point? EDMs is a good opportunity for you to explain to clients what you're doing now in this time. Are you open? Are you looking at different products? Are you looking at different dimensions and so forth? Social media, again, Elena has touched on it pretty much. Be on all platforms. Again, are you a business that's even on any sort of social media platform? Didn't you need it before? Well, now's the time to start looking at it. Elena's will be open, I'm sure, for discussions, but is it something that you need to start doing? And in this time where we don't have that face-to-face interaction, now's a perfect time to start looking at this. And start looking at, okay, well, what kind of platforms do I need to be on? And you should be looking at all of them, to be honest. Google My Business. Okay, so Google My Business is again a good opportunity to see whether and you'll be surprised how many people or of your clients actually find you through this side of things. You know, good opportunity to update your hours, get more reviews, and update any services that you might have. Google My Business is crucial to a lot of businesses, and I think you guys don't understand that yet, but now's a good opportunity to look at it and look at, okay, well, how can I really sort of get some more around it. Okay, what I wanted to actually show in this scenario is some actual case studies. Okay, to give you a clear indication of exactly what's going on. So if you see from there, it shows the dates that it's actually highlighted from. As you can see, from March the 15th to which was April the 14th as of yesterday. This is a pool company. Okay, the red line shows us how many impressions are seeing where it's at. So impressions are searches, okay, and they tell us what's happening within the market. As you can see from this business, there are people still searching, people still looking, people still want to look at getting their pools fixed. Yes, I know they are home and so forth, but this is an industry that's still doing quite well. And obviously showing to us that there is people still searching these things. Again, this is a Allied Heating and Cooling and Air Conditioning company. As you can see, through the middle of March, when there was that little bit of scare or a little bit of fear, should I say, it's now starting to rise up, and people are starting to really search and really get some form of traction towards their website. This is an e-commerce website. Okay, so this company looks at computer parts. It's a company that we've had for quite some time. Through March, which was again the fear stage, they generated around 34 conversions. Okay. From that, you can see that little blue line, which is the clicks. That shows you how many clicks they obtained through their website, and there was definitely a big increase throughout the term of March. So if you do have an e-commerce website, now's a good opportunity to look at that website originally through Terri, your social media through Elena, and we can look at obviously AdWords and you know, if there is any SEO to look at that moving forward. Solutions for Health is an oregano oil that I use myself and can't tell how great it is. Through that term of March, you can actually see the conversion. So a conversion is a sale. There was 356 conversions in that time. So obviously through that time, they obviously built their business even more, because obviously people were more concerned about their health, and this does build up your immune system, which is obviously fantastic for this day and age. But it also clearly indicates that, you know, again, with these different these different case studies that are shown, that people are still searching, people are still using Google, and now is a good opportunity to start looking at that. I myself am here, you know, I'm offering, you know, to most of my clients or any sort of new clients, a 3-minute free strategy where you can look at your website and see how it will really go through Google, and we can find historical data from that and look at saying, well, okay, yes or no. I mean, one thing at Rise Digital Media, we're pretty transparent in the sense of, you know, whether we can help you or not, and we're pretty truthful in regards to that, because the last thing we want to do is create a bad experience for any business. Our key behind everything is being totally transparent. So if anyone is sort of looking at, okay, well, what can I do as a business, or, you know, in a Google aspect, should I say, then yeah, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. But at this present time, I thought I'd make it pretty short and sweet. And if there are any questions, you know, you can hit me up, or yeah, go from there. So I'll pass you back over to Terri. Mine was nice and short and sharp. Terri?
All right, hang on, I'm back. Yep.
Yep.
You all hear me? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks, Kon. That was awesome. something that I was meant to mention earlier and I completely forgot about it is thank you for everyone that donated to Oz Harvest as a part of their ticker. I know that everyone's a little bit stressed and struggling at the moment, so I think that will really benefit them. I think it's something like $130, which we don't have heaps of people on, so it's really appreciated. And yeah, so I thought what we would do now is kind of do a bit of a panelled question time section where we can go over some of the questions that has been asked in the chat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the top. So what we'll do is we'll go over the questions that are already in the chat first, and then what we'll do is if you have a question after that, what you can do is turn on your video, leave your mic muted. It's very hard to say. And once your video is up, because probably a few people will have videos up, I'll go one by one and we'll address each person, just so that we don't have a million people talking over the top, because it'll be quite difficult. So, all right, let me just quickly.
If anyone's got any questions for either myself, Terri, or Elena, by all means pop it into the chat. We've got it up here, so if you've got any questions, hit us with them. Be good to put out the name of the person that you want to ask as well.
We got heaps of people introducing themselves, which is amazing. Thank you so much. I know that someone asked, are you distributing this afterwards? And yes, we are. So we've recorded this, the slideshow and everything, and us talking. So we're going to send out an email a bit later. I'll probably have to edit a bit of it. Just to get rid of the start of it of me trying to figure out Zoom basically, so that we can put it on YouTube and then we'll share it with everyone afterwards. I know that there was a few people that couldn't come because they still are working in their businesses. So yeah, we'll do that and we can check it on Facebook and things like that as well. So if you want to share it around, you're more than welcome to. We got, oh yep, so I've already answered Tanya's question.
From Jess B.
Oh, okay, Jess B. Elena, do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, so Jess B's asked, hi Elena, great presentation. I agree. In the past, I have really struggled with gaining reach on my IGTV video and my Facebook video. Is there anything specific I should be doing to optimize social media videos to get more eyes on them, or just depends on my content?
Cool. Hey Jess, thank you for joining firstly. I think there's a few things that you can work on here. Obviously looking at the content that you're sharing, so what kind of message it is that you're trying to get across, and being really consistent with your videos. So you don't want to just be posting one video to Facebook or one IGTV every so often. You want to keep it consistent, especially with your Instagram videos. You want to almost make it like a bit of a series or a channel. So having a look at the content and making sure that, one, you're providing value. So that's when your social media goals come into play. Like, what am I actually trying to achieve from this? What kind of message do I want to get across? And making sure you have a variety of content as well. So mixing up your content. If you're going to create a little bit of a series, just say you do one IGTV every week, covering different topics, especially at the moment. I'm not sure what industry you're in, but you might want to cover a different topic each week that you think would provide some kind of value to your audience. Or changing up your content in terms of, like, it could be you talking, it could be you doing a Q&A with somebody else. So really just thinking outside of the square in terms of content, and being super consistent. So that would be my advice there. Hope that helps.
Awesome. And then Natalie has also asked a question to you, Elena, which is, loved your presentation. Is there a certain amount of videos you should do? Sorry, I'm just
per week or per month, maybe? Per week or per month.
Week. Yeah, sorry, that's me. I'm dumb. Per week, per month, to keep your audience engaged. Yeah.
Yeah. So similar thing, Natalie. What I would do is try and create a plan for yourself. So maybe start with one per week and see how that goes. It really depends on the content that you're providing and the type of message that you're trying to get across. But I would just have a consistent plan for a month. So whether that's one video per week or videos per week, keep it consistent throughout the month, and then gauge what your engagement is like. Because at the end of the day, the type of content is what's going to get you, that's, you know, depending on what people want to see, that's going to impact the engagement. So I would just plan out a month, and how many you do in that week is up to you, depending on your time and availability. But I would, yeah, try and plan out a month, if that makes sense. I hope that helps.
Awesome. If anyone has any other questions, do they want to turn on their camera so that we can see them pop up, and then they can like in person introduce themselves? And also, like, I'm aware that the questions may be relevant to your business and its current struggles. So if you have any questions that you're not comfortable asking now, feel free to email any of us afterwards. That's totally fine as well, and we can answer you directly.
Yep. No worries.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we don't have any more questions at the moment.
All good.
I'll just double check. Hang on 2 secs. The old messages. Okay. All right, I think we're all good. I'll just go to our last little screen. It'll have our contact details on it as well.
One dropped in. What are your thoughts on TikTok?
Oh, there we go.
On TikTok. I'll answer this one if it's okay, guys. So TikTok is like a very fast growing platform. I would definitely jump on there to play around with. Obviously, I specialize in the Instagram platform, but the reach on TikTok is huge. I'm not super familiar with it, but I have been doing a bit of research and played around with it a bit myself. And the reach is huge. So it's obviously all video type content. So if you have the opportunity to play around with it and create some content on TikTok, I would definitely suggest it. Obviously get all your current platforms like in a good space as well, before jumping onto a new one. But yeah, TikTok seems to be the craze at the moment. Everyone's creating TikTok videos because they're stuck in isolation, and I've seen businesses jump on it as well. And yeah, you can get really creative, create these, you know, awesome little videos. You can also share your TikTok videos to your Instagram platform as well. So that's something to think about. So yeah, if you have the opportunity and time to look into it, I would definitely recommend it.
Definitely.
Awesome. I actually have a question for Elena. So I know this is not my job, but I'm going to ask anyway, seeing as we're talking about different platforms and stuff. What do you think about Pinterest? Because I use it heaps. I don't know whether it's like a very popular advertising platform though. I do know that you can advertise on it. Have you ever worked in it before?
Yeah, I mean, I use Pinterest for my business and like for personal use as well, to make mood boards and stuff like that. A lot of businesses do use it as an advertising platform. I'm not too familiar with it in that aspect, but I have seen, yeah, a lot of businesses get a lot of benefit from using it. So it's something that I use more as like an organizational thing to, you know, pin, you know, different topics and stuff like that, or just, you know, if I'm working on a different project, I'll go on Pinterest to get a bit of inspiration. So I use it for that aspect. I haven't, depends on your business as well, depends what industry you're in. But yeah, it's definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting because there's a lot of, I guess, like branding people that actually post ads and things like that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely lots of potential there. I'm just not too familiar with it.
We've got a question. One of my plans for a while has been to start, this is for Finwood House. Okay, one of my plans for a while has been to start a blog with instructive posts about picture framing and home decor. Just keeping everyone up to date with our business, behind the scenes, etc. But I'm not sure how often the post to start with. It's a very good question, and it sounds like a really interesting blog that I would probably read. I think, honestly, if you're just starting it out, I would post as often as you have the capability for, because you need to create the content. I wouldn't be creating content just for the sake of creating content. Create it as you're coming up with the ideas, and ideas that you're actually passionate about and you think are really beneficial. In terms of like SEO and things like that, Con, how many would you say is best a month for a blog?
Listen, the more blogs you do, the more you're updating your customers and you're letting Google know that you're being productive. Okay, so I think there is no answer to, there is no time or limit to that. That's for sure. So obviously, again, if you feel that customers or clients need answers, then that's where you need to do a blog. That's for sure. So
yeah, no, it sounds like a really good idea. If you can, I would post at least once a month. If you can post more than that, I would definitely do that. But yeah, it's really good for your SEO. So if you can do it more often, that's always better. But just don't be making content for the sake of it, is what I would say, because it needs to be beneficial to your customers. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it as well?
Exactly. Just with Natalie's question, so do certain industries work better on different platforms? I think the big question there is, us three have come together, myself, Elena and Terri have come from, different types of digital. To be honest, if you're on every single platform, there's no reason why no one can find you. So, it's all about being found. It's all about people knowing what you service, what you do. And if you can get in front of anyone through any different types of platforms, then you're already generating business for yourself. So whether it's through Google, whether it's through social media, or whether it's directly straight to your website, I think you're already in stepping forward. That's for sure. So do certain industries work better on different platforms? I think if you're on every single platform, there's no reason why you can't be found. I think the old saying of, and this is what I like to say, where I was dealt with before, COVID was, word of mouth, I'm good. I think unfortunately that's going to be dying out slowly, and people are going to be turning more to digital more than ever. So, if you're not on those platforms, then chances of you being found are quite minimal.
I'll just jump in there as well, Concha, help answer that question. So I agree, it's definitely important to be on all platforms, but it's just changing your presentation and content on those platforms as well. So you might be on LinkedIn to build up your personal brand and personal profile. So that content's going to be different to what you're sharing for your business Instagram page. So it's about, obviously it's important to be on across all platforms, just presenting yourself differently and your business on those platforms as well.
Yeah, and even though, it is really important to be on all the platforms, obviously you kind of got to understand who your target audiences are as well. So if you're a B2B business, LinkedIn is likely more better for you, because that's where people in business are more likely to be. If you're an e-commerce store, people are more likely to be on social content, like Facebook and things like that. So it's really...
Let's not forget, this is a learning curve for pretty much new people that are coming into the digital world, where they don't know where to start. So even if you're B2B, before it was okay, let's go LinkedIn or whatever it may be. Now businesses have never really had to search, so now they could be searching through Google, they could be searching through Facebook or Instagram, wherever. We don't know, and it's really hard to make that assumption. So we've got to understand is that the more platforms you're on, the better you're going to be, and the better and the more you're going to be found. That's no question.
Yeah, we're in a topsy-turvy world.
We are. I mean, look at us. We're over videos.
Totally out of all of our comfort zones. It's fine. Awesome. Okay, thank you, Natalie. Does anyone else have any other questions just while I get the slide ready to wrap up?
Anyone else? Come on, hit us up. Don't be scared. Sure, Brett's got a question if he's still on.
Brett, where is he?
There he is.
Hey, boy, what's your question?
Question, Brett. Right, is that? Oh,
Oh, his question is, do you miss me? We all miss Brett. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I'll just quickly share my screen.
Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I
Yeah,
hope you
really.
get that little 1% out of it. We hope you do. So, you know, even if it's just that little bit, by all means, hit us up, you know, separately. By all means, we're happy to have a chat.
Yeah. And just a couple of takeaways as well that I was going to say is just always remember to use positive language and behaviour. You want to really inspire hope in your community and with one another. This is a really good time to plan as well while we're in isolation. So just make sure you're planning, you're preparing, but most of all, you're taking action on the things that you're planning because that's going to really achieve your long-term success. Remember, it's all temporary and it's also okay to ask for help. So help people, accept help. It's a very tall poppy thing that we've got going on in our society, but now, if any time, is a great opportunity for people to help one another, and it's a really good time to reflect and re-strategize to pivot towards a better world in this crisis. So yeah, thanks everyone. We've left our social media links on the screen. If anyone wants to ask any questions in person, like one-on-one, feel free to let us know. Also, our intention is to send out a couple of our like ebooks to you guys. If any of it's helpful, the one that I've got is about conversion rates, so a way that you can improve your website to better convert your customers. A lot of that you should be able to do yourself. So hopefully that's helpful for you. And I know Elena's got a new book out as well, and we'll be sending those on later.
And if you're not digital, bloody go digital, okay? So I've been trying to tell people for the last 4 to 5 years, go digital now.
God, so heavy-handed.
Start listening. If you're not going to listen now, geez.